Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Matthew Makovich and Phil Januszewski. Thank you so much for joining us on the Trainer Positivity Virtual Summit 2021. And it is my honor and privilege, I'm very excited for today, to introduce our very own Florence Ann Romano, who will be joining us as one of our speakers here for the summit. First and foremost, Florence Ann, it is so good to see you. It has been way too long. And to officially get this party started, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're here, where your career path has taken you? The world wants to know.
It's so good to see you. Are you kidding? This is like the highlight of my year. I am so thrilled to be here and be able to speak to everyone about everything you package so well, which is about positivity and that enlightenment and that energy. And so my career path has taken some twists and turns, but I have spent the last about 20 years in the child advocacy industry. I was a nanny for 15 years. And after I was a nanny, I decided to write a children's book to help kids understand the transition of being taken care of by their parents to being taken care by a nanny or a caretaker. And after that, I started to think, you know what? I don't think anyone's really paying attention to this demographic. And the truth is, over 64% of families in America today have a nanny or a caretaker. And I thought, my gosh, this isn't something that's trendy. This is something that's part of our culture. So I really wanted to start to deconstruct that and think, what is childcare in the new millennium? How are we redefining nanny? How are we redefining childcare? And so I started doing a lot of media about it and talking about everything about kids and taking care of our kids and growing our village and doing all of that. But then COVID hit. And COVID really started to shine a light on how important the village was. And so it was during COVID that I started writing my second book, which is not a children's book this time. This is for the masses. It's prescriptive and it's going to talk about the village. And you hear that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I love that saying. However, I think it's kind of ambiguous. So I decided that I was going to give directions to the village and start to really identify who the villagers are and who do you need in your village and who are you in the village. And that is really truly what I believe in, that in our lives we have to do three things. We have to build our village, ask for help, and let love in. So that's what I'm here to do and talk about as a village and childcare advocate.
Mm. Florence Ann, well, thank you. First of all, yeah, author and being an advocate, thank you. As a father myself, childcare was a huge part of our life for a long time and a huge part of our checkbook as well. So, I mean, we lived it and totally understood. So thank you for that. It's such an important part of a family's life in that. Now, you brought up a couple times this term, the village, and I was wondering if you could maybe go a little bit deeper into that. I know you said you brought up that ambiguous saying it takes a village, but could we go a little bit deeper into what that means and how do we define it, or maybe what that means to you?
There were two things that I saw happen during COVID that kind of just like hit me like square in the heart. And everyone kept saying, you know, who's left when everyone's taken away from you? And I started really thinking about that concept that villages were ripped away from parents, but it wasn't just parents, it was also children. So it started to permeate everything. And so I started to think to myself, well, what does the village look like for parents? What does the village look like for people that aren't parents? What does the village look like for children? And I started realizing that the common denominator in life is that we are all part of a village. And if we're not, that's probably the missing link in our lives in terms of fulfillment. And people get a little nervous, I would say, about this idea of like, oh gosh, I need to find this village, because they think, well, it's tit for tat then. Like, if I'm going to be part of a village, then I'm going to make sure that I am doing what they need and that they're keeping score. And that's the truth about relationships in general, is you can't really have a tit for tat relationship. You can't really have a relationship where it's one-sided, where you're left feeling so empty. And I think that's where we find a lot of issues in this world today with relationships, when you feel like it's not reciprocal, or you feel like you're not gaining from that relationship what you need in order to grow, in order to continue to be able to give. And I don't pretend to know the meaning of life, but I do believe for me, it is to live a life in service of others And I think that's what the village is. I think it's about just being able to support each other. And as we see families change and they come in all different shapes and sizes and colors and everything, that all of those families need different support for different reasons. Just like we have different friends for different reasons, you're going to pick your villagers for different reasons. But normally you're going to find that they have similar values to you. So that's how you're kind of going through the vetting process, but you're also doing that when it comes to childcare and bringing a nanny or someone into the home. So I guess I'm trying to show that in all these different facets, you're trying to explore the idea of like knowing thyself. What's important to me? And then how am I finding an extension of that in my community?
Now, that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to bring up next, actually, because upon you joining the summit, Florence, and you mentioned the importance of not being afraid to ask for help and why that isn't a sign of weakness. Would you mind diving a little bit deeper into that topic?
I feel like I've seen parents struggle with this so much because social media and just the pressures of society make you think that if you can't do it on your own, then you're weak. And I have always, I mean, I have to say, when I was younger, I probably had a harder time asking for help because I did believe that. I believed that if I couldn't do it on my own, then it meant that I was weak or I wasn't good enough. I was inadequate in some way. And then I got older and I realized how complicated life was. And really, the truth is, who wants to do it alone? I don't, and I really rather have someone to have arms around me in whatever way that is, arms around my brain, my heart, my body, whatever it is to help get me through something. And so when I see parents struggling to do it all themselves, whether they have a spouse or they're a single parent, whatever their situation might be, I feel bad because it doesn't have to be that hard and life already is hard. So why would you want to be isolated during it?
Mm. Well, Florence Ann, thank you. You brought up if I could say, a cornucopia of ideas here on our village, human connection, asking for help and feeling support. Now, I know that we only dabbled just a little bit for this positive summit, but I guess the main question would be, if there's others listening right now that would love to continue this conversation with you or dive deeper into some of your resources in that, what would be the best way for them to reach out and connect with you so that maybe they could get that support and work on further building their village or finding their village?
Well, please come talk to me, anyone. I answer every DM I get on Facebook or Instagram. You can go to Florence Ann Romano and just look that up and you'll find me. And then florenceann.romano is my website. I have tons of blogs and all sorts of resources there for you too. But I'm really here. I'm a real live person behind that social media account that will talk to you at 2 a.m. about whatever is ailing your heart. And I know it's hard in this world to form relationships, and the world of social media and technology has taken over. And I want to try as hard as I can to show that there is a human element to it. And that's what you're going to get with my account. At least that's what I hope you get. And that you do feel that you are part of a village and that you can learn and grow and feel, like I said before, arms around you.
And now let's double back to that real person as Florence Ann Romano. I could speak from personal experience. I had the privilege of going to high school with Florence Ann. And let me just tell you from the bottom of my heart, she is an incredible human being from an incredible family and just a genuinely incredible human being. I cannot encourage you enough to find her on social media, to reach out if you need something, explore what she is doing, because she is changing the world, making it a better place. And on top of that, I would also like to thank Florence for her generosity, her kindness, and ultimate friendship in high school, as well as her parents and her family, who I feel opened up so many doors for me creatively. And a family who I thought was just top of the line, complete class acts, people who took such good care of me, even though they didn't need to. I felt like my world got even bigger and better than it already was. So from the bottom of my heart, Florence Ann, thank you so much for everything. Thank you, your family, for everything. And to our wonderful audience, check her out. She is doing incredible things, and she's making the world a better place. So what more can we ask for? Florence Ann, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
You're making me cry over here. Believe me, the pleasure is all mine. And you've made me a better person all my life, no matter time or distance. You live right here. Thank you.
Awesome, Florence. Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for the 2021 Train of Positivity Virtual Summit. If you have enjoyed this positive message, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. If sharing, please don't forget to use the hashtag #TrainOfPositivity. Continue to have a great day, and thanks again for tuning in.